By this time, Nicholson's getting a little bit upset because he's got all these sort of really, really expensive, like $100,000 cards, and this guy's rejecting them. And so he says, yes, well, I actually have a sort of super rich platinum Visa card. So the guy looks at it and says, oh, I don't know, do you have any more? Nicholson says, what's the matter? The guy says, oh, nothing, I just want to see how many cards you had. So joking around with people, telling the humour, making the service interaction something memorable, these are all ways to build the passion, to build the interest, to build the storytelling. And of course, none of this means anything unless it's profitable. Okay, so you can entertain, you can add sensory stimulation, you can add activities, you can add an emotional feel to what's going on, you can surprise people by having a model who actually moves in your window, and you walk past hundreds of windows around shops around the world, and all the models are just sort of dummies, and then one moves and you go, wow, that's interesting, isn't it? You can do all these sorts of things to surprise and entertain people, but it has to be profitable. So what are the issues here? The issues are acquiring customers. So if we can have mental activity, if we can use some of these tricks, we can acquire new people who are going to spend with us, hopefully. Retaining customers. Will you go back? Now, I have a birthday at the start of January, and at the start of January, I get about 90 cards from around the world. It's not that I'm a particularly popular kind of person. It's just that 90 places I've been to have recorded my birthday and sent me a birthday card saying, please come back to our hotel, our restaurant, the place where you bought this stuff from us. People are using some kind of relationship marketing to try and retain customers. And I'm kind of entertained by that. I don't look at all 90 of them, but I look at some of them and I go, yeah, that was a great place, wasn't it? So retaining customers, retaining direct loyalty is kind of interesting. However, I will say something that's interesting in the tourism world here, in the retail world. If you have networks of shops, networks of similar kinds of retail outlets, you can also transfer loyalty. You might not go back to exactly that shop, but you might go to another body shop in another city because you've transferred your loyalty not from the body shop in Singapore but to the body shop in Sydney. So there's a transferred loyalty as well as direct repeat loyalty. So that's the second part of profit. And the third part of the profit, of course, is facilitating mainstream expenditure. Getting your people to buy what you're really selling, that's great. But if you can have add-on expenditure, that works as well. Add-on expenditure is where you have a situation where you have something that you can sell that's special. So it may be that you are an art gallery, but what you're also selling is painting lessons. That's one of those illustrations there. This guy would take people out into a particular environment and give them painting lessons as well. Or you may give them special training to do something. You may have some kind of add-on expenditure which is activity involving which people can participate in, which adds to your profit. So that's a smart idea which lots of the shopping villages do. Teaching people to cook, teaching people all sorts of skills in addition to them buying core products. You also have this reputational capital for the whole setting. If you have one or two places in the setting which are doing something novel, something exciting, running a fashion parade, running a Tiny Tots show, doing something, then the whole plaza, the whole streetscape may benefit from that activity. So in addition to your direct returns, you may build the reputational capital for your group of people in an environment or a setting. So maybe you don't do something special every day of the week or every month or every week of the year, but if you do it once a month and somebody else in your setting does it next month, then you're sharing the burden of the cost of doing it and you're building a reputational capital. This is a cool place to go because there's always stuff on, neat stuff, stuff that you can do, things you can involve your whole family in. So that's the longer view of profit as well as the attracting, retaining and having core expenditure, building reputational capital. And I'm going to repeat this theme because it matters. The shopping environment must be seen as enabling a story. We get this clear message, a story worth telling, a place worth the effort of going to. But it is, and those of you that have heard me talk about environmental topics and environmental themes in retail will also hear this same idea. Shopping may not be the first button to evoke consumers' interest in a place. It may be the second button. Quality, price, they're really important. But ambience and atmosphere, being able to tell a story, is probably a first button. And then the quality and the price of the shopping is next. It's a bit like the environmental issues. Often there's not a premium for environmentally green products. It's a third button after quality and price. So being able to sell things that you've done in an environmentally sustainable way may not give you extra dollars or extra pounds, yen or whatever. It may, if you like, be a third advantage. And shopping is a bit like this, I believe, in many settings. You can't just sell places on shopping on the whole. There are exceptions. But you can sell locations with a story, and then the shopping kicks in as that second button. All right, let me pursue a few implications for Singapore. And hopefully we can discuss quite a few of these in a bit more detail in a discussion question session. I'm not a critic here. I absolutely don't pretend to know enough about the details of the setting to really adopt that approach anyway. It's inappropriate. But I'm going to have a commentary, I guess, which is built on these 4 years of studying these special shopping settings and looking for some transfer of ideas. And just to add to that, I've also worked in Milan over the past 4 years, teaching and visiting and working with people there, and they're moving towards planning the 2015 Expo. So I've really been, I suppose, in one of the kind of shopping fashion capitals of Europe and seen what they're doing in this context. So as I come to make some comments about Singapore, I do have some of the images of Milan that I'm quite familiar with in my head, as well as some of the big cities around the world that I visited on my way to many of these villages we've been talking about. First point I'm going to make is similar products, similar shops need differentiation. I couldn't get an image of 101 Dalmatians or 101 Indian tailors selling me suits, but at core, similar products, similar shopping environments, similar places need differentiation. They need to be distinctive so that there's something memorable about them, and that's the sophisticated goal where we've got to go. And I'm going to say that I think we have superb hardware here in Singapore. Superb hardware, and by that I mean the physical spaces that have been created are really quite fantastic. Are really very, very impressive in terms of the construction of glass and steel and the marriage with trees and the organic environment and so on. I really think it's quite an amazing city. But I'm going to suggest that we need a bit more software. Can have a fantastic computer, and it can have all sorts of capacity and all sorts of memory space, but if you don't have a really, really rich, engaging set of software, you're using only half, only a third maybe, of your total power of this resource. So what I'm going to suggest is that we need and can, potentially in Singapore, add some more entertainment, add some more engagement, add some more humour. Certain aspects of the service culture could be more fun. We could add something unusual and quirky. When you walk down the main shopping malls of Milan, see all sorts of stuff. Entertainers, actors, people selling stuff in the streets. There's a rich kind of, wow, I'm going to stop here. Look at that, wow. There's things happening. There's street theatre, there's statues who move or who stay still for 2 hours at a time, who are people, all dressed up in silver and all the rest of it. So there's an engagement, there's a street life. And I don't see it here, and it's not being critical, it's just a comment, that we have this fantastic, superb hardware, but we could have more engaging software. Engagement, getting people to do things, humour, jokes, things that are just different in shop windows, opportunities to participate. A number of opportunities exist.